Good evening. I am Dustin Fife, and this is our first ever weekly photo critique. For those of you who we haven't told about this, what we're going to start doing is we're going to select a photo from one of our students every week and talk about it, because I know some of the training that goes on is very informal in our classes, and we want to have a record of some of the things that we talk about, some of the things that we notice as we look at pictures. So this week's lucky winner is Jamie Bills. Congratulations to Jamie Bills. We really like this photo that she took and posted, and we're just going to spend a few minutes talking about it. So, first of all, the first thing that I notice is the rule of thirds. And the rule of thirds, as many of you know, is that we divide our image into three sections, both vertically and horizontally. So if we did it vertically, there'd be one right here. I hope my mouse shows up. And one right here. And then horizontally, there'd be one right here and one right here. And basically the idea behind the rule of thirds is that we want our focal point, or our points of interest, or point of interest, to fall at a third or an intersection of a third. So notice what's happening right here is that at the intersection of the third is this cute little girl's face falls right on that intersection, which I know Jamie, and I know this was intentional, which makes me very happy. So kudos to you, Jamie, on the rule of thirds, and very well done in drawing attention to the focal point in that way. The other thing that I'm noticing is this contrast between this ugly brown Oklahoma grass, which I don't mean that as a criticism of you, but more of Oklahoma's lack of grass growing ability. Anyway, I really like how she just jumps out of this grass right here. You got this contrast of yellow to blue, which, if I remember right, those are opposite ends of the color wheel. But anyway, I think it works. Oh, Amber is shaking her head and saying that is not the case. Well, whatever. But either way, there's still a lot of contrast. If not in color, there's contrast in brightness here, which makes her pop out of the background in this area, which gets me to my first critique of this photo is this doesn't pop as much as I'd like it to. You do have her face being brighter than this, but I'd still like it to be a little bit more. So maybe you could make her pop through some other ways, maybe a shallower depth of field or something, but also I see that her hair is blending into this part right here. I don't see where her head ends and where the sky begins right here. So if I were to frame it a little bit differently, I would probably move her just a little bit this way, and so you could see the end of her head, and maybe shoot with a shallower depth of field, get a little closer, shrink that depth of field just a little bit so that she pops out just a little bit more. Also, another thing that I really like is, I don't know why, but I really like the apple and the hat. Let me think of why. I think it just kind of adds to the mood of the photo that this is a very candid moment. She's eating an apple, she's enjoying her cowboy hat, just kind of, this is, what would I call it? This is a very laid back photo, very happy photo. And it kind of, everything within here works with the mood, and I really like that. So good job on that. Another thing that I would recommend doing differently, some people may disagree with me. I'm not even sure that I agree with myself, but I think that this part right here is a little bit distracting. I would like to ask you if you intended to have that there. If not, then I would remove it. If you did intend it to be there, then I guess I would want a little more explanation, visual explanation of why that's there. I don't quite know what this is. Maybe that's what bothers me. Maybe, I don't know, is it a part of a playground? Is it a fence? I don't really know what it is. So maybe if I knew what it was, maybe it would help add to the story that this picture is trying to tell. I'm not quite sure. So overall, my suggestions for this photo would be just to move her just a little bit over so she pops out of this dark background just a little bit more. Maybe choose a shallower depth of field, make her pop just a little bit more, and do something about this. Show me what this is supposed to be, or don't show it at all. So, Jamie, if you end up taking this perfectly candid picture again, where she just happens to be looking exactly the same, and of course, I know that 2-year-olds are very willing to pose for you. So, if you happen to have a moment where it looks exactly like this, I would do those again. And if you could post them again, that would be great. Maybe our viewers can see the new and improved image. So, good job, Jamie, and we will see you next week.